Good morning. In the last class, we have studied about the condensation, evaporation and condensation, isn't it? Now, today, let us study what causes clouds and rain. See, always the evaporation takes place throughout the year, but it is more faster in the summer because of the heat of the sun. The rivers and lakes it get dried. Why? Because the heat of the sun. When the water gets heated up, when the sun shines directly on the earth, it is very hot. So due to that, water gets heated up and the water changes into water vapor. The air along with the water vapor becomes warm air, You can see the water vapor, and the warm air is lighter than cool air. That's why if the warm air rises up and it becomes cool. When the water vapor get mixed up with the air along with the water vapor becomes warm and it rises up. It rises higher and higher up. When it rises up, it becomes cool. And when it becomes cool, it forms the clouds, the droplets of water. The water droplets it forms together. It forms together to form a clouds. That is millions of droplets it forms, and when these droplets becomes heavier in the clouds, so it falls down as a rain. It falls down as a rain. It cannot hold up for a long time, and this makes the water comes down in the form of clouds. Once again, when the land gets heated up, the water level reduces in the rivers, lakes and oceans. It changes into water vapor. When these water vapor get mixed up along with the air, and the air also becomes warm, it rises up and cools down. When this water vapor cools down, it changes into water droplets. It forms together to form a cloud. The millions droplets form together, gather together to form droplets. And when these droplets becomes heavier, it cannot hold it up. It falls down. These water falls down in the form of rain. So this is called a hot water cycle. Again, see, water vapor changes to water, and then water vapor changes back to water. Is called a water cycle. Water vapor changes back to water, and again water changes back to water vapor, is called a water cycle. This repeated thing is going on in the nature. This is called water cycle. This is called water cycle. Once again, when the sun shines directly over the head, the lands heated up, and the water level also get reduced in the rivers, lakes and ponds and in the oceans. So it changes into water. The height above the water, the air above the water becomes warm. It changes into water vapor. The water vapor goes up and cools down, and this changes to form clouds. the millions of millions droplets of water forms gather together to form a clouds, and when these droplets become heavier, this will form down on the earth, on the ground, in the form of rain. So this is going on in the nature repeatedly. So this is called water cycle. Water vapor changes into water, and water changes back to water vapor. Is this repeated process is called a water cycle. And water falls down in the form of rain always, but it falls on the ground in other forms also. What are they? They are hail, snow, fog, dew and frost. So as the raindrops comes down, they sometimes pass through cold air. As a result, they freeze to form small balls of ice, and these balls of ice are called hailstone. These HAIL, hailstones. See once again, hail. What is hail? As the raindrops comes down, they pass through very cold air. As a result, they freeze to form ice, and these ice balls are called hailstones. You can see. Then snow. When water vapor cools down suddenly it freezes to tiny white snowflakes. These falls to the ground as snow. You can see in the Kashmir, that side, northern side, it falls, freezes. The water vapor cools down suddenly and it freezes to form tiny snowflakes. They are called the snowflakes. So these falls to the ground as a snow. Fog during winter season, you might have seen everywhere like a cloudy. When you get up early in the morning, you cannot see anything because the water vapor condenses on dust particle just above the ground. You will feel that it is a cloudy and all. So if the fog is very strong, then you cannot see beyond some meters also. So drivers and pilot officers, they cannot see to drive the vehicles also. So fog during winter, water vapor condenses just above the ground to form a thick cloud. When it forms on the dust particles, it becomes like a cloud only you will feel. Then dew, the water vapor in the air condenses and settles on tiny leaves, window panes and leaves and vehicles and all. So those are called when it changes small droplets, you feel that oh, it was rain. No, it is not rain in the winter season. So it is a dew. The water vapor in the air condenses and settles down on window panes and flowers, leaves and all. It is very nice. Frost, when it gets very cold, dewdrops freezes into tiny white crystals. These are called frost. So when it gets freeze, very cold, dewdrops, when you might have seen sometimes the water drops on the leaves and all in the cold winter season. When it gets freeze, then it becomes a frost. It is called frost. Tiny crystals, you can see it is called frost. when it gets very cold, dewdrops, when the water vapor condenses on window fans, vehicles, leaves, flowers and all. So those are called the dewdrops. But when it gets freeze, then it becomes a tiny white crystals. So these are the forms of water. We have studied what is a water cycle, and this you can see in the textbook also. You can open your textbook. You can see here, this is the hailstone. Can you see? Raindrops come down, they sometimes pass through very cold air. As a result, they freeze to form small balls of ice. These balls of ice that falls to the ground are called hailstones. And then you can see the snow also here. This is called the snow. The water vapor cools down, settles it. When the water vapor cools down, suddenly it freezes to form tiny white snowflakes. These fall to the ground as snow everywhere, isn't it? Then here you can see in this picture you can see the fog. During winter, water vapor condenses just above the ground on the dust particles, isn't it? Just above the ground to form a thick cloud. Then if the fog is so very thick, then will not be able to see beyond some meters. The dew, you can see the water droplets here. Sometimes the water vapor in the air condenses and settles as a tiny droplets. You can see here droplets on leaves, flowers and on windows, glasses, on vehicles. This is called dew. And here you can see this is the frost. When it gets very cold, the dewdrops freezes into tiny crystal, tiny white crystal. This is called frost. So the wind affects the weather. The water vapor in the air also causes changes in the weather. But what is the main cause of changes in weather? It is the heat of the sun. It causes changes in the weather. In the next video, we will be learning few more things about how changes take place in the season also. Thank you.